calling them costly and unnecessary. He says workers don't want them and called for change. Juneteenth, which marks the end of slavery, was not recognized at the White House. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers may be the first sports organization to rise up against the immigration raids ordered by Trump. When agents from the Department of Homeland Security pulled up to Dodger Stadium Thursday morning asking for access to the parking lot, Dodger security personnel told them no. The caravan of ICE agents tried another gate entrance and were denied there as well. LAPD officers were called to Dodger Stadium to keep peace. There were no incidents. The ICE agents were told they could not stay on the property and eventually left the stadium by noon. Thursday night's game between the Dodgers and San Diego Padres was not affected. The Dodgers have a lot of Hispanic and Latino fans who attend their home games. The workforce at Dodger Stadium also features a large number of Hispanics and Latinos. Big props to the Dodgers for standing up for their people. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say.
Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Put the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you. Love you.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Thank God it's Friday. We've had an amazing week in Los Angeles, California. The 4th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580, under the leadership of Tavis Smiley, is on a growth trajectory. I want to thank all of the guests and sponsors who participated in every single event that we had over this Juneteenth weekend. Very special announcement and a very special guest. After just 6 months on the air, the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show begins a new era on Monday, KBLA Talk 1580, as our show moves to 2 hours and a new time slot. Monday through Friday, 12 to 2 p.m. PST, 2 to 4 p.m. CST, 3 to 5 p.m. EST. The new era, we hope, pray for national syndication. Our very special guest today is the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Gina Towns, a recent graduate of Princeton Theological Seminary, is the executive producer and creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and will share her vision for future programming and offerings of the show beginning this Monday on KBLA. In conjunction with Smiley Audio Media, Gina's company, 519 Productions, will take the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show to another level of national leadership, professionalism, and high-quality production for such a time as this. Gina is an indie Billboard charted artist, formerly known as Gina Darby, a songwriter, producer, a master of theology, social justice, and public life. She's the author of a soon-to-be-released memoir recounting her experiences through the lens of an African-American child becoming a woman. Both her words and lyrics are highly anticipated. Her single, Yes, peaked at number 26 with a bullet on Billboard's Urban Adult Contemporary chart alongside of some of her musical heroes. Gina's passion has long been writing and speaking about life's realities and what can make the world a better place. With a wide range of gifts, talents, experiences, and skills, Gina tries to make a difference for people sharing her factual faith wherever she goes. Gina's voice is amazing. Gina will share with us today her vision for the future of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and the importance of the leadership of Tavis Smiley, Cornel West, Reverend Sharpton at this critical hour in our nation's history. There's so much more to her biography that I will share with you when we come forward. But in the meantime, I want to welcome our executive producer and the creator of the Jesse Jackson Show, Gina Towns, to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Well, hi, Jesse.
Hi, Gina. How are you?
I am doing great. I am one of those people who takes one step at a time. And so moment by moment, I breathe in the moment. So I'm able to, even when it's not going as great as I want it to be, because I woke up with a headache this morning and I have a smile on my face now. So I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm very, very proud of you. And I'm really particularly impressed with your vision, your theological reflection, the work you've been doing in the community, and your understanding that we need platforms, we need voices. And our home has landed here at KBLA for such a time as this. I don't know a national platform that makes more sense for people around this country who are African American than the leadership of Tavis Smiley, the leadership of KBLA, the leadership of Dr. Cornel West, Dominique DePrima at 6 to 9 in the morning, Tavis Smiley 9 to 12, our new slot 12 to 2, Dr. Nee Cordelai Corte, and just a host of guests and assets that are available to this station and this network. I see a growth trajectory, and I'm so glad that you're a part of it.
I am grateful to be a part of it. I'm grateful for your voice. And if people haven't had a chance, on your public Facebook page, they will see the leadership of Tavis and Dr. West.
So I hear this dead space. I think we might still be on the air.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-237-8585. That's 800-237-8585. Again, that's 800-237-8585.
LA's newest soul food restaurant is getting spectacular reviews.
Great place with amazing food. The Sunday Champagne Brunch is fabulous. I saw the place on IG. We tried it for lunch. We were blown away by the food and the service. The restaurant has an inviting atmosphere and a dynamic vibe.
Over the years, Lionel has catered most major Black events in Los Angeles, including all of our KBLA Talk 1580 gatherings. But now he has his own spot, Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine, and you need to check it out at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles. Oxtails, baked or fried chicken, meatloaf, turkey chops, pork chops, catfish, short ribs, and all the fixins. Collard greens, mac and cheese, yams, red beans, black-eyed peas, and more. And of course, hot water cornbread, satisfying drinks, and delicious desserts. Lionel's is a great place for brunch, lunch, or dinner. If it's good enough for us, it's good enough for you, because we've got your black. So head on over to Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles and tell Lionel you heard about it on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Of course, we're working through just a few little bitty nuances here. Gina, I want you to share with our audience your vision for the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Well, Jesse, I actually expected that you would ask that. Going to 2 hours, we are going to do a weekly series. I want to share that. So I am learning to produce the show and talk at the same time. I want to put on the screen for you image 8. As you can see, from Monday through Friday, there's going to be a show in the second hour every day. On Mondays, there's going to be Reverend Dr. Teresa Horde Owens, and her show is Moving Mountain Mondays. What do you think about that, Jesse?
I'm actually very excited about it. She's a very qualified African American minister. She has congregants both in the United States and in Canada and throughout the world. I don't know anyone who has a broader depth. Today, Teresa Horde Owens is in Africa at a conference for the United Disciples of Christ Church. When she joins us on Monday, she will be in Africa. So she will bring an international perspective as the head of a major denomination in the United States to a global community.
One of the great things about what's going to happen in the second hour is each day has a different focus. And as our listeners and our viewers can see, the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show presents a weekly series. On Monday, it's called The Faith Not to Fall, with special guest Teresa Horde Owens. Every Monday will be Moving Mountain Mondays, where we build faith week to week and generation to generation. And then on Tuesday, we will turn our attention to tenaciousness. Tenacious Tuesday is every Tuesday, and it will feature On the Ground with our special guest, Barbara Arnwine, Esquire. So tell me about a little bit about Barbara.
Barbara is one of our nation's leading civil rights champions. Her office is in Washington, D.C., but she has been leading protests around our country, challenging the executive orders of Donald John Trump. She's also been coordinating African American organizations from the NAACP, the Urban League. Major organizations rely upon Barbara Arnwine's tenaciousness when it comes to addressing critical issues in real time that affect our community, progressive communities, in fact, all Americans. Barbara has been with us since the inception of the program. Now she has a slot on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We look forward to her input, which will always be timely, it will be relevant, and it will matter to the people who are within range of our voices.
Absolutely. People have been very responsive to Barbara's show, and she's always such a bright light when she comes on. On Wednesdays, I think people may have seen this banner before. Reverend Dr. Todd Yeary, Esquire, who has one foot in the pulpit and the other one in the courtroom. We've really enjoyed featuring this show, and this was kind of a hint to our audience and our listeners that Todd would be having a show as well on Wednesday, and it's called The Politics of Our Faith. It's Wealthy Wednesday, seeking wisdom week to week and generation to generation. Your thoughts about Todd?
I can't think of a better person who can help us through the hump of the week than Todd Yeary. Most of us struggle in our faith, trying to reconcile what we believe, either as Muslims, Christians, Jews, even those who are agnostic and atheist, about what is going on in our country. And yet here with Dr. Todd Yeary, we get a fortification of someone who's literally in the courtroom, capable of discussing every legal issue in this country on any given day in real time, because he's in criminal trials, but he's also in civil trials. He's also challenging the structure of the Trump administration in courts and state legislative bodies as well. But he's also a minister. And so he brings a faith component and a faith angle to the argument that matters. And it shows us how we move through our faith, the politics of our faith. I often share with people that politics is really the distribution system for the economic system. It determines who gets what, when, where, and what it's called. For rich people, they get tax breaks. For poor people, they get welfare. But it comes from the same government. There are benefits that come from the same Treasury Department. There are benefits that come from politics. Well, Todd understands that when you call something welfare, that sounds like something that we should cut, of course, because it impacts the poor, something easy to cut. When it sounds like a tax break, it sounds like someone has earned something that they did not earn. And Todd Eury understands how we make our faith work with all of the changing languages and the language itself that matters in our action. I love Politics of Our Faith, and Todd Eury on Wednesday is a needed addition to our nation's dialogue.
Absolutely. I want to come back to a couple of the things that you said during that description of Todd's show when we complete our week. We're going to move on to Johnny Mack on Thursday because it's straight facts with Johnny Mack on Thought Provoking Thursdays. Gaining knowledge week to week, generation to generation.
Johnny's a sage. Johnny is the International Affairs Director, among many other very important titles, to Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. He is one of our connections to Dr. Sharpton's work, both in the United States and around the country. He travels the world on behalf of the National Action Network. But just as important, Coretta Scott King asked Claiborne Carson at Stanford University to be the curator and to be the keeper of Dr. King's papers and his work. She asked Johnny Mack to be the chief administrator of the Martin Luther King Jr. Center in Atlanta, Georgia, for which he faithfully executed his responsibilities. But she also charged him with something else, and that is the idea of a beloved community, how we work through our differences in community, how we handle our struggles in community. And Johnny's voice is so soothing, so clear, so capable, so wise, that the world needs to hear him at this hour as well. Each of these guests are also empowered on our program to bring in additional guests. For example, Reverend William Barber is part of the organization that Dr. Teresa Hord Owens is part of. She wants to bring Reverend Barber on the program. Johnny Mack is capable of bringing Reverend Sharpton and others in the global sphere of Reverend Sharpton onto the program. And so the cross-fertilization from Barbara Arnwine, bringing in Wade Henderson and other civil rights organizations and members of Congress that she interacts with every single day, including the head of the Congressional Black Caucus, gives you some idea of what the second hour depth of our program will be here on KBLA.
I want to come back to Friday in a moment. I would like to talk about some of our monthly guests, people who have been on our show and just can't, they're so busy, but we're happy to have them at least once a month in a permanent time slot. Some of those people include Josie Matthews, Liz King, Ted Williams, John Lesiotis, Diallo Brooks. Some of those may sound familiar to people who have been with us, and in our growing audience, I'm happy to introduce those people. And one thing I want to do for the graphic that's on the stage now is thank Tavis Smiley, as you have done. His influence, his voice for a very long time has been an integral part of moving the Black community forward. And this opportunity is a major one. Tell me about your relationship with Tavis Smiley.
I've known Tavis for maybe 3, maybe 4 decades now, and he has always been consistent. His voice is strong. He has, not surprisingly, more than 20 honorary doctorates. He's an author. He's done what people in our generation, in fact, no one in our generation has been able to do, including members of Congress or even United States senators who are African American. He's been able to pull together leaders from across our nation in our community to have a discussion. When I think about the State of the Black Union and his, I think, nearly decade and a half run of pulling together Jesse Jackson and Louis Farrakhan and Al Sharpton and Michael Eric Dyson and other ministers of the cloth. When I think about the first hour of his show, almost always begins with an author. You know, that's kind of like where we got the idea that in the first hour of our show, you need to write a book. People call Jesse Jackson Jr. show all the time, say, can I be on your show? I said, have you written a book? Because you ought to be a scholar. If you believe in what you're saying, you're not just coming on here with another opinion, but it's something that people can think about and that the contribution that you make matters. And so that's not to be haughty about education. It's just that Our people deserve, many of us are not going back to high school. Some of us are not going back to college. We're not graduating from graduate school. Those of us, many of us are. But the fact of the matter is, when we have a platform like KBLA, we ought to put people in front of people who have given some serious thought to the subject matter. And so subject matter experts do matter. I mean, I don't know anything about cardiology. I don't know anything about diabetes. I don't know anything about some of the illnesses that are killing Black people. Well, we need the best doctors in the world that we can find in our community to be able to speak about these issues. And that's what you're going to find here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
The next thing I want to know from you, Jesse, is how did this journey start? We've got about 4 minutes left in this segment, and I am going to come back to Fat Meat Fridays because I want people to understand what we're trying to accomplish in that day. But here we see a number of people and a number of topics. Tell me how this journey got started for you.
Well, obviously, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., and I inherit this amazing name, a name that I didn't understand what its true significance was when I was very young. And as I grew older, I listened more than I spoke. I came into my own understanding of the contribution that my father was making as a minister, as an activist, as someone who had access to some extraordinary people. And many extraordinary people over the course of my 60 years have gravitated towards me. And I always wanted to be in a position to have something to contribute. So not only did I need to understand my father, I needed to be able to think, to write, to be inquisitive, to be, as Tavis calls it, a charitable listener, to be willing to learn from other people. I think I ask more questions on the program than I do offer solutions, in part because I think there are plenty of people in our community that have solutions. So this world has shaped Jesse Jackson Jr. And so we will have on the program some people from the extreme left. We welcome some people from the extreme right. President Donald Trump is welcome on our program. Joe Biden is welcome on our program. Barack Obama is welcome on our program. It does not mean they're coming, but they are certainly welcome on the program, and they will be treated with respect. They will be treated with dignity. We will challenge them in the arena of free speech and in a non-violent way. We will hold people accountable, and I'll do my very best to hold myself accountable for the things that I do right and the things that I've done wrong. It's no secret what my journey in life has been: 17 years in Congress, 36 months in prison. And so there's just about nothing left for me other than the Undertaker. And so everything on this side of life really is a wonderful and a magnificent journey and an opportunity to share, so that some people might follow the path that we've created, but they may also see some of the shortcomings of what that path represents and be able to learn from them as well, so that they don't follow anything incorrectly.
So good. I'm going to take the last minute before we go. And what you said was very interesting, and I hope everyone was listening. And that is part of what Fat Meat Fridays is going to be, is learning to discern, having something to chew on. The name of the show, when I get to it, is Reflectivity. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. But if you're looking at the program right now, and for those who are just listening, there is a banner up that shows Jesse's birthday party. And I very humbly called Al Sharpton and Don Lemon and yes, Dr. Cornel West and Tavis Smiley. And there were other people who came that day to celebrate your birthday. So there's been a lot, not just looking forward to the end, but your life has really meant a lot to a lot of people, and we are going to do great things. I know we're going to help a lot of people, teach a lot of people, because that's the gift that God has given you, and we're going to learn how to reflect and make that our activity. We're going to go to break now.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. When we come forward, our executive producer and the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, Gina Towns.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Chicago Alderman Brian Hopkins plans to fight Black Mayor Brandon Johnson's expected veto of his SNAP curfew ordinance. The measure passed by City Council lets police impose teen curfews anytime.
I will veto this ordinance because it is counterproductive to the progress that we have made in reducing crime and violence in our city.
Johnson says it's bad policy that could harm Black and brown youth and erode community trust. Black Maryland Governor Wes Moore is taking new steps to close the state's wealth gap. He's prioritizing $400 million for underserved communities and adding nearly 7,000 cannabis pardons to help address past injustices. And a state panel has approved a statue of civil rights activist Barbara Rose Johns for display in the U.S. Capitol. Johns led a 1951 student protest against school segregation in Virginia. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival is happening June 20th through 22nd, featuring Walker Hayes, Cody Jinks, Alabama, and more. Tickets are available now at TemeculaValleyFestival.com. Powering the best events from start to finish, events.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers may be the first sports organization to rise up against the immigration raids ordered by Trump. When agents from the Department of Homeland Security pulled up to Dodger Stadium Thursday morning asking for access to the parking lot, Dodger security personnel told them no. The caravan of ICE agents tried another gate entrance and were denied there as well. LAPD officers were called to Dodger Stadium to keep peace. There were no incidents. The ICE agents were told they could not stay on the property and eventually left the stadium by noon. Thursday night's game between the Dodgers and San Diego Padres was not affected. The Dodgers have a lot of Hispanic and Latino fans who attend their home games. The workforce at Dodger Stadium also features a large number of Hispanics and Latinos. Big props to the Dodgers for standing up for their people. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the voice of reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 host will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Gina Towns is the executive producer of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. She's our special guest today because on Monday, the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show enters into a new era. We move from 1 hour, Monday through Friday on KBLA, to 2 hours every single day following Tavis Smiley. That in and of itself is its own challenge. Tavis is clearly one of the most gifted, most respected, most awarded African-American journalists and radio talk show hosts in the history of radio for African-Americans. And we're so grateful to have the opportunity to follow him. And that creates obviously a tremendous amount of pressure because Tavis reads everything. He studies everything. And just to follow him is a true honor. And I can't think about anyone who I would rather take this journey with better than the creator of our show, Gina Towns. Gina is a recent graduate of Princeton Theological Seminary. She did her undergraduate work at Hampton University, the other HU, under the leadership of Dr. William Harvey. Gina, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thanks, Jesse. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about where we're going. When we came back from the break, I left up the Juneteenth celebration, which is in conjunction with KBLA's 4th anniversary. I want to talk a little bit about Juneteenth. You spent the week covering that. And part of the show, which I'm still going to talk about on Fridays, is to reflect on the week. So it's my opportunity to ask you some questions and maybe dig a little bit deeper on something that you said or one of the guests said so that we can think about it again. And so I want to talk about Juneteenth a little bit. I remember a few years ago, while I was working at Hampton as the director of marketing, I took our famous dance troupe, the Terpsichoreans, to the Pentagon for Juneteenth. They had been invited to dance. And C.Q. Brown was the leader of that event. He got up and spoke, and he is no longer the Joint Chief of Staff. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on how things have shifted, what this Juneteenth means this year versus last year, and what it may mean next year.
You know, Gina, history matters.
Yeah.
And in a period, in an era where we see books being banned, when we see so much of the work from Brown versus the Board of Education to the present being challenged, both legally by executive orders and also in courts. Some have even suggested that Brown versus the Board of Education could very well be struck down by the Roberts Court, which would literally begin a new Jim Crow between first Reconstruction and second Reconstruction. There is this period of Jim Crow from the Tilden Hayes Compromise in 1877 until Brown versus the Board of Education overcame the principle of Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896, separate and equal, and replaced it with equal protection under the laws, the 14th Amendment. We see today challenges with the 14th Amendment. We see Donald Trump leading a campaign against diversity, equity, and inclusion. Very American concepts. And so I think it's important that when we think about these holidays here on the radio, we are under an obligation, since they're not going to teach it in schools. They're not going to encourage the reading of our books. They're trying to dismiss and erase our narrative. To where we can on our platforms, we ought to share as best we possibly can and educate people about who we are, where we've been, and what we've been through. And then offer a contemporary analysis and context with that data point on where we should stand today. Without that history, we're just standing in the wind. With that history and context, we stand on solid ground. During First Reconstruction, there was a Congressional Black Caucus. From the right to vote, the 15th Amendment for Black men, through Plessy versus Ferguson until Oscar DePriest left Congress in 1901 because of the crackdown on Blacks in the South and their ability to vote. African Americans don't come back to Congress in large measure until 1954. Brown versus the Board of Education decision changed the role of the federal government and its relationship with respect to the states. That laid the foundation for the Civil Rights Movement, the 64 Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and the beginning of a new Congressional Black Caucus, which now has over 60 members in it. And so we have a data point in First Reconstruction, how Black people got to Congress. We have a data point in Second Reconstruction, how Black voices got to Congress who speak for us in the national legislative body, in state legislative bodies. So we need to establish these data points because that straight line points us to what we must fight for today. And when I think about Juneteenth, I can't help but think about not the celebration of it, because there's nothing really to celebrate. 2 years of free labor is not something to celebrate. I see a return to the states. I see power being shifted to the states. I see changing the narrative by empowering the states, whether it's the Dobbs decision, whether it's returning education, the Department of Education to the states. These are guarantees of a separate and unequal system. And it is in that context that Martin Luther King Jr. and William Barber and Tavis Smiley and Dr. Cornel West and Michael Eric Dyson and others, Reverend Al Sharpton, have been offering moral clarity about where we stand and what we must fight for in that hour. And we want to be right there in that tradition.
So let's go back to CQ Brown and some of the things that you talked about in the context of what is known as DEI. And the fact that Colin Powell, too, was a Joint Chief of Staff. And at no point did anyone question that he was a DEI hire. What does it mean for African Americans to be lumped into a category that says you are not good enough and that you have to be given special privileges? I think this has something to do with, I've heard you talk about before, DEI versus fair share. Can you share a little bit about that on the Juneteenth holiday as well in that context?
You know, Gina, I've read everything that William Edward Burghardt Du Bois ever wrote.
Mm-hmm.
There is no language in there that says diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. I have not seen DEI in Frederick Douglass's July 4th orientation. What to the slave is the 4th of July. There's no DEI. I've not seen DEI in a single speech preached by the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Malcolm X never used the word DEI. African Americans and our historic struggle has been for our fair share, based upon our either consumer, whatever percentage of Los Angeles we represent, whatever percentage of Chicago we represent. We want to play in city contracts based on the demographics of our being here. based on the demographics of our living here. And there are qualified people within our community to perform those functions. That is a diverse city, as global as Los Angeles is or as Chicago is. But if 30% of the city is Black, well, then 30% or as close as we can get to the contracts from the city and or from the state ought reflect who we are. That's our fair share. Now, I hope other ethnic groups fight for their fair share. Oftentimes, when African Americans fight for their fair share, we get lumped in with people who didn't fight for their fair share, but they're certainly beneficiaries of our struggle. I really don't have a problem with that. But I think we ought to change and control the language. We ought to control the dialogue. We ought to be consistent with history. We ought not start a new trajectory. We ought to be fair to America, but America must also be fair to us. We're really fighting for our fair share. So you might hear me use language like, we want our fair share of scholarships at Harvard. We want our fair share of scholarships at the Ivy Leagues. We want our fair share of research dollars from the NIH. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. When we come forward, our executive producer and the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show will be our special guest.
The station you turn to when you had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's.
The Parkinson's Foundation knows that the disease doesn't just affect the diagnosed. It affects everyone who supports and helps care for them.
If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers.
We can help you understand the disease
and give you tips for living a better life.
Find your answers at Parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't want to see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with Body Wash.
Look at at you now. No more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Hey.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest is our executive producer and the creator of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, Gina Towns. Has roots in Gary, Indiana, the Chicago metropolitan area. This diehard fan of the gospel and the law expresses a goal of building strong communities through various media platforms, ministry, hard work, faithful storytelling, through songwriting and prose. She is ever expanding her depth and range based on her faith and her experience in government and community affairs, the full-time ministry, life in corporate America, to historically Black colleges and universities, both as an alumnus and professionals, is fascinating. Gina, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Welcome forward to the show you created.
Thank you, Jesse.
You know, Gina, if you'd have told me a year ago that we'd be in radio, I'd be like, I can't do this. I can't do that. But somehow you saw a vision, an opportunity for us to expand our voice, and it made sense. We came on radio just having a great time, and now it's moving to another level. What does this hour mean for you?
Well, it's an opportunity for us to reflect. And what I mean by reflection is not, sitting around pondering. It means that I learned from what happened yesterday. I learned from what happened years ago, that I take the opportunity to not just be moving so fast in life that I don't gain wisdom, that I don't gain discernment. And I think far too many people are moving so quickly and really don't develop themselves. And then how can you pour into anyone else? And I'll say that even with the C-SPAN event that took place on Thursday night, which, it aired last night, but it will be on C-SPAN repeatedly. I want people to hear your voice and what you had to say and what God has positioned in your mind, your perspective, and how you're able to discern everything that is, been past your history growing up, and being the son of Reverend Jesse Jackson. That's a huge thing. I mean, what you got to see on a world stage is not for the average bear. And then there's your time in Congress. There's your time as the field director at Rainbow Push. And then, of course, you did spend time incarcerated, and you did do a research project. And I think that's what I want to focus on right now. While you were incarcerated, something was revealed to you in the Constitution, because you are a Juris Doctor and a theologian. You have gone to both lengths to educate yourself in that way, but you're also an avid reader. And if you would just tell us a little bit about what the research was that culminated in a book called The Finger of God.
I don't know if I can cover all of it in the remaining time, but I will share with you this. I'm a graduate of Chicago Theological Seminary, and you're a graduate of Princeton Theological Seminary. And I see my life as part of a ministry. I may not be a pastor in a church on Sunday morning. I may not be the leader of a class in Sunday school. I am inside most of my life and outside the grace of God some periods in my life, but I see it as ministry. I see the journey as life's journey. And yes, incarcerated, I found something, a word construction in the Constitution that revealed to me the faith of the founding fathers. And that faith was not in congregationalism or denominationalism. It was in what they called the sect of one. For them, the highest form of religion, which the church denies is the highest form of religion. The highest form of religion is a personal relationship with God. The founding fathers believed that, whether you're a Muslim, Christian, Jew, or just a believer, they believed that the highest form of religion for Moses was his relationship with the bush, with the spirit energy. Jesus's personal relationship, Muhammad's personal relationship with God, Gandhi's personal relationship with God, Dr. King's personal relationship with God. And ultimately, people must have this personal relationship. And so in the English language, they put something in the Constitution for that man, that woman, that person who was in that personal relationship with God to function in the lineage of David for all of the American people. They put a timeline in the Constitution that they called the Finger of God. And 10 years ago, when I released that book, it became, my ministry to educate people about the fundamental foundation of faith in the Constitution and why this land, Gina, in a real sense, is our land. And so you're always going to hear me do my best to improve the American experiment while criticizing it and fighting it. But it's in the highest form of patriotism that I believe in this country, and I can't imagine another experiment in the world that even comes close. And so that's how we ended up here.
Absolutely. And we started out trying to get a grant in order for you to have a platform to teach this information that you discovered. I look forward to covering the Finger of God on Reflectivity, one of these Fat Meat Fridays, because I think it's something that people will be able to chew on and understand what's going on in our government, because that will make some things very, very clear. On a word of hope, as we move forward, I am really looking forward to everything that we're going to cover, not only in the weekly series, but on Fat Meat Fridays, because it is my chance to interview you. And I know it'll be hard sometimes to step out of that seat, but it will help your audience maybe I may have some questions that they have, and we'll be able to dig a little bit deeper, think a little bit harder, and you'll be able to take us on the depth of a journey that we might not be able to go on otherwise. And I think God has really blessed you. And I think if we all look inward, that digging is something that we all need to do and learn to discern. And I thank everybody for being with us here on Fat Meat Fridays. I'm going to let you close us out, Jesse, and we'll see you next week on Fat Meat Fridays.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. I am excited, Gina, about what you've created, about what you've done, and about where we can go. We seek to expand this show in as many markets across the country as possible, to expand Tavis's voice, to expand the strength of KBLA from sea to shining sea. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. When we come forward in just a few days, we will have a 2-hour show. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
All right.